Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is L.A. Williams, Vice President with Dealer Synergy and one of the creators of the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. Also, got to let you know I'm the blind master. Man, I am pumped up, fired up, super excited. Welcome to the 2025 new format of the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. Man, this thing is, we on new apps. Let me introduce Mr. Sean V. Bradley. You ready for the new app, Sean? This is we rolling, baby.
Yo, this is SVB, and the place to be, and the place to be is the new 2025 Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And
Season 10, baby.
Man, yo, can you believe Season 10?
I know, right?
What are you excited about the most, LA?
Number one, the new format. I will be excited about that. We got new apps. We got LA ain't got to do all the work no more. You know what I'm saying? We got a new producer. Shout out to Griffin in the building. You know what I'm saying?
We got to give him a cool name, like Griff. You have the McGruff, the crime dog. Maybe it's Griff, the podcast guru.
Yeah.
I know we come up with a name for him.
Well, you remember from PE? You remember public? It was Professor Griff.
Oh yeah, Professor. Okay, we're gonna call him Professor because he be cooking up in the kitchen. Is that what it is?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. And should we let him know about the stew yet or not yet?
All right, we could tell him all kind of stuff. I guess there's so many different things that are in the workings for this year. Y'all know we've been saying 2025 is our year, right? We've been saying 2020 was gonna be our year, and then we all got hit with that thingy. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't really happen the way we wanted to. It still had some great years, but man, 2025, man, it's almost like the reset. Is that right, Sean?
Yeah, no, we broke records in 2024. We literally had the largest year ever. We had December 2024 was the largest month ever. And we are projected, and we're on a trajectory already, with this being only 2 weeks in, for this being the biggest year we've ever had in 21 straight years. So LA, I'm going to make the official announcement, man. We are finally building the Synergy Studios, and we're really excited. This vision is from our Chief Marketing Officer, Tianna Mick, and her creative team. So T, you want to tease people a little bit about what the state-of-the-art studio is gonna be able to do, look like, or just not yet? We just want to just tease them it's coming.
I think we should definitely tease them because I think showing is going to do a lot more than speaking about it, because we're literally putting in a lot of money, right? Thousands and thousands of dollars to build out literally.
It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Exactly. I wasn't sure what number we were really going to go out there, but we're rebuilding walls. I mean, soundproof studios, different
state-of-the-art technology. Yeah.
Yes.
The decor is going to be awesome. So
it's going to benefit you as the listeners, and then we have bring you on as guests at certain point in time. So it's not just going to be like, hey, send you a Zoom link, right? We're really going to send you proprietary software where you'll be able to be visually pleasing on the. I'm telling you, this stuff is about to be crazy. So I'm super excited about it, y'all. So Sean, we're going to get into it because, listen, we got NADA coming up. There's so many different things that are getting ready to happen, but we got to pay some bills real quick, and then we will be right back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Podium. Here's a question. How much would your business change if you had one more employee who worked 24/7 to turn every lead, including the ones that come in after hours, into test drives, sales, and more money for your dealership? Meet Jerry, Podium's new AI BDC. Jerry is a lead conversion powerhouse designed to respond instantly to every incoming lead to answer questions accurately, keep leads warm, and schedule test drives, all without direct human supervision. And the best part? With a seamless handoff to staff on the sales floor, customers will never know they were interacting with an AI to begin with. See how Podium's AI BDC can help you sell more cars by visiting podium.com/MCS. That's podium.com/MCS, or click on the link in the show notes below. Introducing Dealer Synergy's brand new 55,000 square foot outsourced BDC. Over 2,000 highly skilled agents are not just making and taking calls, they're transforming customer engagements. Our agents are specially trained by Dealer Synergy, a name trusted in automotive sales training for over 20 years. With access to decades of proven methods, they're equipped with the skills and confidence to handle every customer interaction. Combining Dealer Synergy's advanced training with the cost efficiency of a Belize-based team, our BDC helps you grow your business and maximize every opportunity. The native language in Belize is English, so no customer will be affected by agitating language barriers. Through Dealer Synergy's industry-leading training, these agents are primed to deliver results that boost your dealership's bottom line. Our goal: keep your showroom full, your customers engaged, and your reputation shining. Dealer Synergy's BDC is your partner in elevating customer satisfaction and bringing in a steady stream of ready-to-buy visitors. Contact Dealer Synergy to get more information to sign up today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And as you can tell, we got some brand new sponsors. We got all kind of things that's happening. We got to kind of told you a little bit in the beginning that this is a whole new season, Sean. We in a whole new season.
Yeah, listen, I got to tell you, I am blown away by how far our show has come. I mean, LA, this was your vision. I'm going to give the credit where the credit's due. You had the idea to do a podcast. The podcast led to us having a nationally syndicated broadcast radio show from coast to coast, from New York to Los Angeles, 3 of the top 10 markets in the United States, from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C., to Atlanta, Georgia, to, upstate New York, and to Cleveland, Ohio. And we had 1.1 million Americans tune into our show, and our podcast has blown up. And we are at 1.5 million downloads for our podcast. We're at 30,000 plus followers in the Millionaire Car Salesman group. And then your TikToks with Tianna and your Facebook Reels and your Instagram Reels, we're getting, hundreds of thousands of views on the tips and things like that. Let's start there. LA and Tianna, tell us about the vision for these shorts or these Reels or these TikToks, and, what are they about, and how have you developed such a cult following so fast with people wanting you to mystery shop their stores, LA?
Yeah. Well, initially it just started off because, I'm always dealing with extremely challenging circumstances, when even before people hire us, right? There's like, I'll mystery shop their dealers and the dealerships, and they're doing all kind of crazy stuff. And I'm like, goodness gracious, we have to get to the bottom of this. So I'm like, some of it it's almost hilarious, right? And so I wanted to kind of bring it from a funny point of view, but then also make sure I gave some exact information of what to do about it, right? I don't want folks laughing at our industry. Yeah, we could laugh at us, right? But let me tell you what to do something about it so you can actually make some money. So that's where it first kind of started. Griffin's been giving me all kind of ideas. Hey, call this place, call that place, call this place, call that place. Because we know it's entertainment, as you say. It's entertainment, right? So it's going to be fun, but at the same time, you're going to learn something from it. So that's where it first began.
For the audience, so we're on the same page, because it's a little confusing because we do a lot over here in their show. For the last several months, what we've been doing is creating specific content, like LA said, entertainment for TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. What type of content? Well, the Blind Phone Master is literally mystery shopping car dealerships and automotive professionals all over the country, coast to coast, new car dealerships, used car dealerships. We are basically pretending to be customers, and we are reaching out to see how hard or how difficult or how easy it is to be able to speak to somebody about purchasing a new or pre-owned vehicle. And my God, the results are crazy because we are video recording this. So you're able to see and hear in real time the experiences. Can you imagine if LA was a real prospect and he's not calling people to blow them up and make them feel stupid. He's literally being kind, and he's trying to be, give them every opportunity to do the right thing. But LA, now jump in and kind of explain what has been the consistent theme with almost every single mystery shop.
Almost every single mystery shop, people aren't asking for a name They aren't asking for a
Wait a
phone
minute.
number.
Basically, they suck. You can jump back in, but pretty much almost every single mystery shop sucks. People are failing
Yeah.
every single mystery shop in front of a live audience, which they don't know about. But LA, jump back in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's crazy, right? I had a gentleman else. Y'all should go check this podcast, the clip out, right? He was literally talking to me about political stuff and all kind of stuff. Like, it's not what you talk to customers about, right? You're about to mess up your money. So it's just wild.
Matter of fact, Professor Griff, I want to hear that clip right here. Let's just run like 15 seconds of that right here.
Oh, there. Call me back.
All right.
How are you paying for it, cash or financing?
I guess it depends on the price of it.
Yeah, I'm just suggesting to people, don't throw out your cash because you don't know what's going to happen. This new administration, you know they want to take cash away and they want to make it into digital. And I think...
All right. Well, let me check on the website.
Let's just see what happens because I think it's going to be a disaster. You know, drones all over the place that nobody knows what it is. Come on. They know what it is. Even Obama led to it. His Obama Foundation.
Oh, snap. Did you guys hear that? Did you hear that, LA? My God, don't you want to shake people?
I know, right?
Now, LA and Tianna, like what was crazy that I didn't expect is how people came out of the woodwork commenting on it. They're loving these shorts. They're loving these reels to the point where you have people DMing you and us all the time. Oh, Mr. Shop My Store, Mr. Shop My Store. So talk about this phenomenon. What's going on, guys?
For me, it's wild because I'll get Professor Griff, come on, somebody want me Mr. Rice. He wants you to call their store right now, right? And then one time I actually got the person on the phone, so they end up having to transfer me. But yeah, man, it's been a really cool experience. Just people wanting us to see how well they're doing. Then there's some people that actually, I've had some that did pretty well. Not, of course, sometimes to our standard, but again, it's totally fine. I know we've got some really high standards. But again, it's always a way to get better. And that's the cool thing, I think. Even when people want to kind of show off, there's still some things that if they were to do, they would have better results. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I want to be clear and say we're not here trying to gotcha.
Right.
We're not trying to hurt anybody. We're not trying to embarrass anybody. What we're trying to do is show that there is a massive deficiency in process, preparation, training, and execution. And folks, the bottom line is this: the economy has changed. The market has shifted. Here is the punchline for 2025. Last year is not this year. We need to focus on personal development, professional development, team building, skill building, because you know what? It's not like it was a couple months ago, a couple years ago, where if you had the car, you could pay, you could charge list or over list. Those days are over. There's more inventory, there's more rebates and incentives, and more dealerships on a daily basis are racing to the bottom. Price is only relevant with the absence of value. We have to provide value. We have to be professional. Speaking of which, Tianna, if people that are listening, if our audience is listening and would like to take advantage of this free mystery shop, how do they do so? If they want the blind master to mystery shop their store, how do they do so?
Yeah, so you could just leave us a comment on any of our pages, whether that be TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, or you can just DM us. So just DM us with the dealership phone number. Make sure you put the dealership name too and the right phone number, because sometimes you guys have similar dealership names and we don't want to mystery shop somebody that didn't want to. But exactly what you were saying, all the people that we mystery shopped and kind of gotcha, right? These were people that asked for it, which I think is amazing because they want to do better. And they go back and they rewatch it and they say, hey, you know what? I did forget to ask for your name, or I forgot to ask. This was a cell phone number. So I think people are really, really learning from our videos, and I can't wait to just keep growing.
Yeah, LA, here's what I'm saying is that this is to all the dealer principals, the general managers, the GSMs, the BDC directors out there. Folks, if you feel like your dealership is not handling the phone calls the right way, if you feel they're not handling internet sales or BDC the right way, or if you've got an outsourced call center, outsourced BDC that you're not quite sure if they're doing the right thing with, All you got to do is reach out to us. You can reach out to us by, calling us, emailing us, texting us, or leaving a comment on any of our content out there and say, hey, can you guys please give us a free mystery shop? I charge dealers thousands of dollars to do this. I'm going to offer our audience for free. Why? Because it's great content. Because we're going to be able to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. So, for us, we're always looking for free ways that we could, train our audience and provide value. And this is one great way. So kudos to you, Mr. Williams and Mrs. Mick, as well for putting this whole thing together. And LA, real quick, is there any of your mystery shops that were shocking other than the political one, or noteworthy?
I would say there was some positive ones, right? Here's one thing I'll tell you is that I had a person who I don't even think that they know it's a mystery shop because they text me and all that good stuff, but I haven't heard from them. So they didn't follow up, which was wild, right? Because you sent me the number and all of that good stuff. And if you're just waiting for me to respond as a customer, and listen, I sign up for apps and then forget all about it, right? So the app actually texts me, is like, hey, you forgot to do such and such, right? That's what we got to do. We got to make sure we got our follow-up, man. We already heard that the fortune is in the follow-up. We got to make sure we follow up.
100%. So let's transition off this because I'm super proud of this. These shorts that we're doing and these reels and these IG and TikTok, stuff like that. But man, I got to tell you, the thing that I am the most proud of right now is that a blind man just wrote a future best-selling book. So can you talk about your book and what was that like? Just the process of writing a book and what's the book about and what's the plan for the book? So talk to me.
So the name of the book is So What I Can't, the guide to winning in the face of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so it all kind of started, it's a funny thing, it was last January 8th. I'm running on a treadmill. I'm reading a book myself. It's called Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. And the idea just struck me because there is a certain message that no matter who I'm talking to, I want to make sure that this gets across, right? And it's the message of no more excuses. Like, stop trying to say, oh, well, I can't do it because of this, or, you can do it because you can. I don't want to hear that. Like there's nothing that will stop us from succeeding except for ourselves. Now, I understand that we think we have limitations, right? Sean might be like, well, I'm not quite tall enough, or Tianna might be like, well, I'm not quite male enough, or LA might be like, well, listen, that don't have to stop you from being successful. Like, so what, right? So what? As a matter of fact, the fact that I'm blind is actually is a benefit to me, right? The fact that Tianna's how you say it, Tianna? You say a gay Spanish female, like, that's all advantages to you, right? The fact that I love what he says. He'd be like, so what? I'm 5'5", but let me stand on my wallet. You know what I'm saying? Like, he uses it as an advantage. And so that's what we got to begin to do with whatever our so-called
So what are you trying to say? So what? I can't reach the top shelf of the dresser?
But that's what you got the stool for, aka the wallet, right? So again, if we begin to think about things and go, you know what? See, I think the thing about people think about the word abundance, right? Usually they think of the absence of lack. And that's so not true, right? The simple fact is it's whatever you're focusing on, right? You could focus on abundance or you could focus on lack. And I think a lot of times we focus on what we can't do or man, listen, so what? I can't. Let's go ahead and win anyway. So that was my whole message.
This is my belief. And this is supported by Dr. Stephen Covey and his brilliant book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The whole concept of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is to evolve people on the maturity continuum. Mm-hmm. Covey says that the majority of human beings are either codependent or dependent. And the next evolution is going to be independency. But that's not the nirvana or the preeminent place to be, maturity-wise. The preeminent place to be is what's called interdependence. And the whole book is designed to be able to get you from dependency to independency, from independency to interdependency. And when I studied Covey and became a certified Covey trainer, it blew my mind to realize that most people, like LA said, are their greatest enemy. Most people are who that keeps them from. You know what I mean? Because they basically stop themselves from doing more, being more, and achieving more. They make excuses, like LA would say. Like you would take somebody like in LA situation, I'm blind, and make an excuse. I'm blind, so I can't. I can't see. I can't do this. I'm blind, and use that as a crutch. Or you might turn and say, because LA is black, I'm black. You know, I'm a minority. Black people have it rough. Boom, boom, boom. Or I'm Jewish, because LA is also Jewish. He's a black blind Jew. You know, I'm Jewish. Look what they did to my people in here. Okay, that's an excuse. Then it's like, you know, oh, I'm from the hood. I'm from, you know, North Philadelphia. And he, man, if there's a person on the planet that deserves to make an excuse, like I'm saying by the shit that life gave you, that's L.A. Williams right there. But he's never, in almost 20 years that I've known him, ever used any of that stuff as a crutch. His economic upbringing, his, you know, a lack of a college degree, you know what I mean, that's traditional in like what have you. Like he did go to school for production and things like that. You know what I mean? But again, that degree for engineer has nothing to do with automotive. You know what I mean? That didn't hold him back from becoming a vice president of a multi-million-dollar company and a part owner. You know, him being blind, all the things that he could have used as an excuse, he not only didn't use them as an excuse, he used them as his advantage. He took his, what society would say is a deficiency or a challenge, and he turned around and flipped it and made it his superpower. And I think LA, I mean, like, you can't legally slap people, but I swear to God, like I've seen like those memes, you know, the one where it's like the guys in the backyard, he's slapping everybody that comes by, and I'm like, I feel like doing that sometimes. Or people or dealers or managers or vendors, sometimes I just want to slap the shit out of them because they just say and do dumb shit, and they allow themselves to be complacent with mediocrity, and worse, they allow their people to be complacent with mediocrity. They allow their people to complain, bitch, and moan and use this stuff. And I think that your book is going to give them the knowledge, the information, the inspiration to be able to do more, be more, and achieve more. So I got to say to you, and I said this in private, but I'm going to say it on the air, it shows how crazy life is. Here is a black blind Jew from the hood that just wrote an incredible book, and he can't even see the words on the page that he wrote. Think about that for a second. Isn't that deep, brother?
That is kind of crazy.
Proud of you.
I appreciate you saying it's incredible. And you wrote a foreword for me, man. I want to kind of get your feedback on the air of as you were going through, like, what was your takes on the books? Maybe some of the chapters.
I'll be honest with you. I was surprised because I've known you for a long time, and I'm reading this. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, I was really impressed because I know you've been smart, but you were using like metaphors and you were using like stories, and like you're like a real author. You know what I'm saying? Right. When you read a Sean Bradley book, it's like you're talking to me. But LA paint a picture with words and shit. You know what I mean? Like, what is that, Bob? You're the Bob Ross of authors, man. You're painting pictures, like seriously. Like, you know what? It's funny because if you guys don't see LA, like what have you, but he bald. But in my eyes right now, you know what I mean? He got a Bob Ross head of hair because he is an artist with his words. And since you brought it up, I wasn't going to bring it up. Les Brown, the legend, Les Brown offered to write his forward, Tianna, and he said, no, my man Sean Bradley. Les Brown's like, who the fuck is Sean Bradley? 'Cause he don't know me. But I want to say thank you because you had a living legend, arguably one of the greatest motivational speakers in the world, literally wanted to write the forward of your book, and you're like, nah, I'm good. I got my man Sean Bradley's writing it. Who turns down Les Brown? My man L.A. Dub did, yo. Remember that. He did. LA, between me and you, I would probably put his ass on the front. You would probably see the copies.
He can get a different edition. It's all good.
Oh, but see? LA work at his system. You're like, no, Sean, I'm going to have both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? He going to work at it. You're the automotive person I'm going to put on the forward, but anybody outside, I see you. Get in where you fit in. So, TT, what's that like for you to see LA do what he just did with this book?
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing, especially because just so many people are already inspired by LA. So I think this is just another avenue, right? Because we have our podcast, LA makes videos. He's on NADA speaking stages, right? Like, but now this is just another avenue of information, right? Like, you know, people that like reading books and that actually want to better educate themselves in that way. And I just think that it's amazing. And he's just going to continue to inspire people, which I think is the biggest thing, because that's just what he does for me every day in the office. He always inspires me. So now everybody can kind of have a piece of LA in their office, right? You buy the book, now you got a piece of LA in your office too. So I can't wait for everybody to have a little piece of LA. I'm excited.
LA, I'm telling you right now, you asked me specifically like the stories that you have with the crocodile. And I mean, like, I think you break it down where you take not necessarily complex like topics, but situations, and you make them so simple. And I think that that's a gift that you're given because your communication skills are off the charts, is that you could take difficult things and be able to simplify them so everybody could learn. Everybody could be inspired by it. And I got to just tell you, I was just really enthralled with the amount of detail and preparation that you put towards the book. And I'm telling you right now, for all the dealers that are listening, if you want to get more from your people, that's what we all want. We want more. I want more money, more appointments, more shows, more car sales, more service ROs. I want more. I want another dealership. I want more. You know what I mean? More. You know what you have to do? You have to give more to your people to get more. So you should contact LA and figure out how you could pre-order, because I'm sure LA is going to come up with some stupid, deal for the first, round of dealers and business owners that want to buy, in bulk. Like if you want to buy a copy of your book for each one of your salespeople, you. And I think he's got a program, LA, and if you don't want to release it now, that's fine, but a certain amount of copies that you buy will get, they might get, after a certain amount of copies, LA might do a free sales meeting for you through Zoom. Right. You buy enough copies, LA might turn around and show up to your dealership and stuff. Again, it's all about, how much you order, how much you want. But listen to this, LA's been in the business for, 1.5 decades. He is, what is this, your third or fourth time as an NADA convention speaker?
Yep, my fourth time.
He's a 4-time NADA convention speaker, and he's never even seen NADA. Think about that for a second. You know what I mean? He's just been there talking. No, I'm kidding. You know what I mean? So, again, I'm super proud of you, brother, as my family, as my partner in the company, and just like, my colleague in trying to help all these dealers do more, be more, and achieve more. And Tianna, I agree with you. I think that everybody should be able to, get a piece of LA, to take with them, because he's one of the most incredible people I've ever met. I mean, guys, for the people that are just listening to the show, you got a man here that was one of the top producers in the automotive, and not out of the automotive industry, in the music industry. Like, he's worked with celebrities like Beyonce, Nas, LL Cool J, Meek Mill, Karina Bradley, my wife. That's how we met, LA, and a ton of other people, Lil Wayne, Katy Perry. So when you have somebody that's worked with the most elite artists, can you imagine talking to Beyonce or Katy Perry or Lil Wayne or LL Cool J and saying, yo, my man, I know that you're Beyonce or you're LL Cool J, but you need to go back in this booth and recut. I know you can do better than that.
Yeah.
So, like, that's crazy. So if these people I just name dropped some huge people, Beyonce, LL Cool J, Lil Wayne, Katy Perry, rewind the shit again. That's what I just said. If they trust him for their music, for tracks, for production, for engineering, yes, you should trust him to help, inspire your people, help guide your people. LA, can you just give them a quick synopsis of the book?
Yeah, so the book is, the way that I wrote the book is, I'm a big story time type of person, right? So I'm hey, gather around the fire, let's sit and let's listen to the old time stories and things like that. And so half of the book I wrote from a somewhat of fictional standpoint, just to kind of paint the picture of overcoming whatever specific challenge. And then the other half of it is memoir. So I broke each chapter into 2 sections, where I've got the fable part and then I got a memoir part of really just a huge transparent things for me. Like, I remember, my first day ever catching what's called SEPTA here in PA, which is, just public transportation. Right? I remember the very first time that I did it by myself. And I actually just wrote about it and talked about my emotions and how I felt and all of that good stuff. because I know when people do things for the first time, I want them to know that I get it. I understand those challenging feelings, but it does not give you the right to give into those feelings, right? There has to be an art. There has to be a thought process of how do I get past this stuff? And so for me, I'm like, hey, if I can kind of just paint that picture and just show people, listen, because, a lot of times we just don't have the faith that if I were to take this next step, that the rest of it is going to unfold for me. Well, I want to kind of write a book in a way that shows you as a blind person, I had to take some steps that I wasn't quite sure what was going to unfold in front of me, right? But it did. And that's the way that the world works. And so, again, that's just one key example, but I actually did that over and over and over. I think it's about 15 chapters in the book. So I had a bunch of different examples of, from me going to college, going to Florida by myself for the first time, and, just key things. So
one thing that I got to tell you that I was surprised about, besides of how well it was written, honestly, again, not that you're not a ninja at what you do, but I just didn't know that you were an author like that. You just crushed it. But one thing I was really impressed, can you talk about this, and I might even steal this from my next book, is I don't want to say you turned it into a workbook, but at the end of each chapter, you basically kind of recapped the lesson, and, then you actually had some breakout things. Can you explain that to everybody?
Yeah, well, to me, again, a quote unquote self-help book is not really it's not going to get me to the next level if I don't get involved in it. And so, again, at the end of every chapter, it was like, okay, let's reflect on this. And let me ask you some questions about your personal life. And you can sit there and take a pen to it and write down some key things, right? So I asked questions so that to help a person reflect. And I gave mantras and things that you can say in your brain when you're faced with certain key situations that will allow you to overcome. So yeah, absolutely. That was an important aspect of it. As soon as when I said I was going to write a book, I knew that it was not just going to be one of those books that you just read, right? That's not what this is. I want you to be involved in this book. I want it to be an experience. And so that's why part of it is story, part of it is, memoir, and then part of it is you actually working with me.
LA, real quick, we only have a couple minutes left. You're going to be a 4-time NADA convention speaker. Just what are you speaking about on what day?
So on Saturday, I'm going to be talking about emotional intelligence, right? And so it is the art of being a listening leader. So many leaders, your leadership is not challenged in how much you can yell at people. Your leadership is not challenged about how much you know. We know you're really intelligent and all that. Your leadership is challenged in how much you're listening to your people. And sometimes it's not just about listening with your ears. You got to be able to listen with your eyes. You got to be able to listen with your feelings and kind of really read a room and see what's happening. And so I've got some key tactics and strategies that I'm going to be sharing about how to up your emotional intelligence, how to up your self-awareness, how to up the awareness of what's happening with you and your team, or, and what's happening with customers, right? And so there's key people who you need to know what's happening. And again, inside yourself, number one, inside the people who you care about, and inside our customers, there's some key things that if we're paying attention, it'll help us all to make some more money if we really knew what was going on. But a lot of times we don't know what's going on because we're not listening.
Okay, and that brings me to the rock star on the team here, Miss Tianna Mick. Is this a 3rd or 4th time NADA convention speaker as well?
This will be number 4 for me as well.
Number 4. So tell us what you're going to be doing at NADA this year.
So I'm really excited because I'm going to be on the Women Driving Auto Retail event that they have at NADA, and it actually kicks off the NADA event. So I'm kind of like kicking off the event, and it's going to be super exciting. It's called Breaking Barriers and Building Success. So we're going to hear firsthand from many inspiring women, which I am one, right, in the industry. And we're going to see how we've overcome certain challenges and leveraged like our diversity, exactly what we were talking about at the beginning, right? Leverage our diversity, leverage what makes us different in our workplace to show that's actually what makes us better, right? So all of us women and men, right, we got allies in there, are going to be joined on the January 23rd. And as I said, it's going to be like kicking off NADA. So I'm really excited to do that. Never been to New Orleans before. So if you guys hear this and you have been there, Nolans, yeah, you have to show me how to say that when we get to the show.
All right, cool.
Hopefully see you guys there soon.
Listen, I am super excited. LA or Tianna, what's the booth number?
Booth number is 4008.
It's going to be me, our CEO, Karen Bradley, Jenna, the internet director and director of outsourcing BDC for Dealer Synergy, LA, Naima, and of course, Miss Tianna Mick. So we look forward to seeing you all at NADA in a very, very short amount of time.
So listen, y'all, stay tuned, man, because we got some phenomenal things that's happening. In case you're wondering, if you have questions, make sure you put them in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, because in just a moment, Sean and Tianna are going to be answering questions directly from the group. So listen, we're going to make this an interactive podcast. I know we've done, little episodes where we answer questions, but we want to make sure we do that every single episode. So just stay tuned. Give us a couple minutes. We're going to pay some bills and we're going to come back, and Sean and Tianna are going to be answering questions directly from the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. So make sure you're a part of it. Talk to y'all in a second. We'll be right back. It's the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast.
Hello, I'm Shane Bourne with Promax. When we're faced with any challenge, we work together to find the best solution. That attitude and commitment to excellence has helped us pioneer several innovative solutions into the automotive space, like our award-winning CRM and desking tool, which this year we are showcasing with AI-enhanced call tracking analytics. Also our Blackhawk digital marketing solutions. We pioneered SoftPull into the automotive space, and we allow consumers to gain valuable insights early in the buying process, like their credit score, their trade value, and equity, all of which help a streamlined, frictionless buying process, which is important to both the consumer and the dealership. We look forward to showing you just how important it is to us to be more than a vendor, but to be a partner with you, mutually striving to accomplish your goals.
For more information, contact MCC directly and let them know you heard about them on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast.
This has been the most in-depth training I've had in my lot of years in the car business.
We went from 60 cars to 156 cars a month in 3 months.
NAMAD, the entire Toyota Chicago region, as well as the top automotive groups like Koons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their team.
They're the most comprehensive training company I've seen, and they by far have the best support system.
Doing 50 cars a month, topped out at 80. I can tell you that the Bradley On Demand training will get you to the next level.
And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. If you're still not enrolled in Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on the best virtual automotive training in the world. Enroll now or contact us for a free test drive of the platform today.
Hey everybody, we back. All right, so what I want to do now with Tianna is basically go to the internet and go to Facebook. So we go to the Millionaire Car Salesman to answer some questions. Okay, so the first one is question for the group. Would you return to the floor after excelling in finance for the past year only to have management decide to go in a different direction or look for another finance position elsewhere? Well, the answer, I would say it depends. If you are happy in finance, if that's what you want to do is in finance, then I wouldn't go back, into the floor. But if you were in finance and you weren't making the money that you wanted, needed, and deserved, and if you felt that you could make that money in F&I, then do so. Tianna, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would just wager what you find more valuable too, because, being on the floor versus being in the finance, office is definitely, a lot different. So I would just say, what is more valuable to you? My sister, she is a finance manager and she loves, having her title and she loves having her office and the position. So I don't think she would want to go back on the floor. But somebody like me, I'd probably want to just get back in the trenches, make my commissions up and really kind of get in there. So I'd really seem and weigh out and deem what's valuable to you, whether that be the position and the office, or as Sean said, having the potential to make as much money as you can earn. That's what I would say.
So it says our store has 3 F&I reps. They each are scheduled 3 days on and 3 days off. Factor in my day off and customer schedules. I find it narrows down the time slots available for deliveries for all involved. Anyone else run into this? New car store, about 70, 80 units a month. Yes, I've seen dealers that do this. I am not a big fan of it personally, but I do see dealers that do that. So T, do you have any thoughts on that?
I really would like to seek first to understand more, like you said, on the question, because, it's saying like factoring my day off, things like that. Hey, you're in car sales. There's been many times where I just came in for a delivery, right? Regardless of my days off. And then the next question I would want to ask is like, why does somebody else's day off affect your deal, right? I don't care who's going to be, in the finance office, who the finance manager is. As a salesperson, you should always make sure all of your, deals are done, checklist is done. So regardless of who is on shift, it's going to be handled properly. So I would just say as a salesperson, make sure you do everything you can possible to be organized and prepared. So regardless of customer schedules, your days off, or their schedule, you have all what you need to close that deal and get it delivered.
Next question, it says, am I being overworked and should I be paid? Does anyone else have these responsibilities? I'm a sales consultant, nothing else, not paid for anything else. 2 big things. My dealership has me stocking in cars, inspecting for damage, collecting keys, miles, collecting vehicle information, as well as parking them. This often includes me moving service, employee, and new car vehicles in order to fit. Takes hours. I do it alone in the cold and snow, and it sucks. I also have to do courtesy cars. Companies who give their employees cars buy them from leasing companies, and we do delivery DMV work. I schedule appointments, make deliveries, get them parked, and get them to detail clean. Let me know what you guys think. Is this normal? I often lose walk-ins, phone-ups due to being outside for extended periods of time. Okay, this is going to be controversial because I don't want to offend anybody, so I'm going to be very diplomatic with this. Usually a dealership has lot reps. You have a lot boy, lot girl, a lot person, whatever you want to name them. And that's the type of work that a lot person would do. Now, does that mean that you're getting ripped off and taken advantage of? No, because you got to remember that every dealership is different. Now, there are some publicly traded dealerships or dealer groups that have certain protocols. But for the most part, most of the dealerships are privately run, privately owned, and it's up to that owner to be able to do so. I'll be an example. I worked in New Jersey, selling cars, and I did have to move inventory, especially when it was raining or snowing, and we had lot attendants. In addition to having lot attendants, but you got to understand, I'm not opposed. It sucks. But I'm not opposed to you having to move the inventory to make sure that the line is straight, because you got to sell off that lot. I'm not even opposed to taking the snow off, because you have to sell from that lot. But bringing in all the vehicles, you're checking in all vehicles, that seems excessive, but I don't know what else is going on or what's tied to it. But yeah, that does sound like a lot. And I do hear what you're saying, that you might be losing ups because of it. So I would say that's not normal. It seems like you are doing a lot. That doesn't mean that that's bad. It doesn't mean you're getting ripped off. It does mean that that's not normal though. T, what about you?
Yeah, I would say that as exactly what you said. Like, I've, of course, had to move inventory around, check in cars, clean the snow off. That's, normal. But it's like in the industry, to get paid for going above and beyond, quote unquote, really isn't also is normal to not get paid, right? It's normal to not get paid to check in cars. It's normal to not get paid when your customer doesn't buy a car. So I don't want you thinking should I be paid? Definitely maybe a little overworked, but I would look at to see why, right? Are you not producing as many cars, so they have to find value and, have you do check-in things and do things like that. But I would say, like we were talking about in the beginning of this conversation, is how can you use those things to your advantage, right? If you're checking in all new cars, now you can make new car videos, right? While other salespeople are gonna have to wait because you already recorded it and now you already have your video out and you already checked in the car. So I would say, what of your job that you're doing and not getting paid, how can you turn that into you getting paid, right? So whether that be when you do clean the snow off, right, and you do your videos, or making sure that you clean the cars off that you want to sell, right? Because if they're not going to pay you for it, then you definitely want to make sure your inventory at least is cleaned off. So that's what I would say.
Here's a good one. Going to NADA. Which lead handling AI vendors should we visit? Okay, that was posted about 4 days ago. Absolutely. If you guys are going to NADA, you should be checking out Podium's AI. They call him Jerry. The artificial intelligence for Jerry is the most advanced conversational AI that I've seen in the entire automotive industry. So make sure that you check out Podium. What's the best CRM out there for simple, easy, and effective auto sales? Okay, this is Michael Bevins. He posted this about 3 days ago, and there's like already 39 comments, and a lot of them are Promax. And my God, their new UI and UX, which means the user interface, user experience, the new technology for their NCC CRM, their complete CRM, is awesome. It is so easy. The technology is amazing and it's updated. Do not, when you think of Promax, don't think of the old Promax. This is the new NCC acquisition Promax. It is probably the best CRM. And after, Promax NCC, I would say Vin Solutions. How would you feel if people above you are making your commissions on vehicles a secret, like they literally don't want you, the salesperson, to know what you made on the car deal? I like to hear from both managers and salespeople, former or current. I thought about it from multiple angles and I'm lost. This is from Mark Holman. As a dealer, so he's a dealer principal, this is good. As a dealer, I want my salespeople to get their deal sheet before payroll. We are now volume-based and not commission-based, but when we were commission-based, some salespeople always thought they were getting the shaft. Once we gave them their deal sheets, we had absolutely no issues. Salespeople need to be able to trust their employers. So I'm so glad that a dealer principal said that, because I believe in 100% transparency. Now, does that mean that I need to disclose that information as I'm working the deal? Hell no. I'm a sales manager. I'm a desk manager. And my perspective is I don't want them sometimes to know how much gross is in the deal as they're working the deal, because I don't want them to make certain assumptions for themselves, for the dealership, or the client. I want them to follow the desk directions. If I pencil them, I want you to go and articulate my first pencil and second pencil and so on. I believe that too much information might not be a good thing, but I also support what this dealer principal said. That doesn't mean that we should hide that information. You should always have what's called a deal sheet or a wash sheet to be able to see, what do we sell that vehicle for? What do we own that vehicle for? What was the commissionable gross? And what are you making on this deal? You should know that after the deal is closed and, either before or when you get your paycheck. That way you could reconcile. You should be able to go, yes, okay, that is what I sold the vehicle for. Okay, this is what they own the car for, and here's what my commissions are. So let me be clear. No, it should never, ever happen where you're kept in the dark and you're supposedly got to trust the dealership. And it's not because you shouldn't trust them. It's that we all are human. We can make mistakes. And if you are putting 100% trust in here with no accountability, no reconciling, that's just stupid. You should know what you're making. You deserve to know what you're making, but at the right time. Tianna, your thoughts?
This question is obviously a little controversial. When I was selling cars, I was always the top grossing salesperson at my dealership. But the reason of that is because my managers, if I knew that I was going to make money off of a deal, they would kind of like give me a little nod. I would actually work harder at the deal, right? And I feel like some salespeople are like that. I think that's why they asked, why don't they tell us how much money we're making? Why don't they tell us? Because they're scared that you are going to be able to take off those extra couple $1,000s, this and that. But for me personally, as a salesperson, if I was selling a car and they were like, hey, this is a 6 to 8 pound deal, then that's just going to make me work even harder with the customer, show off our value more, really do a full walk around, feature, benefit, all that. But I understand that for some salespeople, if they knew that they were going to get a quote unquote loser deal, then they wouldn't build the value. They wouldn't really go all out. So unfortunately, you do kind of have to keep some salespeople in the dark about that. So as a team, I would say I don't think any solution is a one size fits all. I think some people do need to be kept in the dark so that way it doesn't, they don't shoot themselves in the foot. And I think some people can't be in the dark because then they will also shoot themselves in the foot. So I would say as a manager, you really got to see who your team players are. If you're somebody like me and hey, T, this is an 8 pound deal, you really got to go hard on it, then that's what I'm going to do. But for the other guy that really just wants to make money, you can't maybe tell him that. So like I said, as a manager, I would see what team member really fits what.
This is Alana Short. I get to see the deal sheet, bring in the paperwork to finance. All the numbers included, the deal number, and we are encouraged to either make a copy or take pictures so we can match up our washouts end of the month. Washouts need to be signed by the entire staff before payroll processes them. That way, splits aren't missed. If a split is missed, both washouts initialed by both salespeople. I love how transparent it is. Here's another one, Ryan Lubinsky. I'm looking for another dealership because of this. They stopped emailing us pay stubs regularly, and now it takes weeks of hassling HR to get one. Turns out they were taking people's names off buyer's orders and paying people minis for deals that should have been paid them hundreds more. Honestly, my experience at the store has kind of left me wondering if it's worth trying elsewhere or if they all pulled the shit. That's a shame. No, they don't all pull the shit, Ryan. Tianna, for time, we have one more question, and then we're going to be out. Okay, the last question that we're going to cover, because I think this is a really good one, it's how do you even leave home life at home and work life at work? So that phrase, work-life balance. So Tianna, what are your thoughts on that? Because you were a sales rep working 14-hour days. How do you have work-life balance? How do you leave work at work and leave home at home?
Honestly, I like having the synergy of both. I am not really one to leave one at the other. Only because if I am at dinner and I get a sales call, then guess what? I'm taking the sales call because my partner, right, my spouse, she's going to know, hey, you're working right now. You're trying to make money for us, right? And vice versa, right? If I was at work and I got a personal call, I would hope my boss would be like, hey, you know what? Take that call really quick. Hope it's your kid. You're fine. Come back into the office when you're ready. And that's what I would hope for. And I think that's what we really need to work on, because so many people were in dealerships and they don't even put their cell phone numbers anywhere or give their cell phone numbers to their customers because they're like, I don't want anybody calling me during like the weekend or after time. And I'm like, what? Are you crazy? This is the type of career that we're in, that we need to be working overtime, right? We're always working. So I would say find the balance in it, but I think it's a whole paradigm shift, right? It's, if you do see somebody calling you after hours, it's not rolling your eyes or huffing and puffing. It's almost like getting excited because you could go a whole week and nobody calls you, right? Or would you rather have a week with people calling you, even if it's not the dealership hours? So I would definitely not look at people bothering you, during work time as a bad thing, because that's making you money.
I got to tell you, I am thoroughly impressed with your answer. It's kind of a vague question that they posted. So there's a couple different angles. I love your response because, ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember something. We are performance-based. The majority of people that sell cars don't make shit in salary. Some of you do, and you're lucky. So don't rub it in everybody else's faces, because most people don't get salaries. Most people got draws, which mean, and I don't mean like the underwear, I mean draw as in they have to owe money back. So if you've got a $1,500 or $2,000 draw at the end of the month and you don't sell anything, you owe people money. So again, if you are in a draw situation where you have a draw, or at the very least you're just performance based, to only work 9 to 5 or in certain parameters is just absurd. I would say get a different career, because you have to be ready. And especially, are you kidding me? Do you know what the average cost of a car is now as of 2025? It's over $48,000. The average new car cost $48,000. And we've got cars, not even Mercedes or Ferrari. We've got regular old cars that are $80,000, $90,000, almost $100,000 for a Chevy, for a Ford. Are you kidding me? If somebody's spending the second largest amount of money ever in their lifetime, or the largest amount of money in their lifetime, they need to have convenience. They need to have access. They need to be able to have questions answered, not whenever you're available, but when they need them, because they are the client and they need to be served properly. Now, here's where the problem is, T, is that if you suck at time management, if you suck at the work-life balance thing, if you suck at prioritizing, then that's going to be difficult. Because you're either anything in excess. Hell, Netflix in excess is bad. Water in excess is bad. It's called waterboarding. That's what we do to terrorists, right? Or they do to us. They waterboard. Water's good. Oh my God, everything, 70% of the earth is water. No. Talk to somebody's being drowning. Not all water is good. You see what I'm saying? So again, my daughter's dying right now on this right here. But my whole point is that, again, anything in excess is not good. So those personal phone calls or those out-of-hour phone calls. So what you have to do is you got to try to organize. And you should read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or Put First Things First. That's actually the name of a book, which has to do with time maximization. There's another course that Covey offers. It's called the 5 Choices of Extraordinary Productivity. So see, a lot of people don't realize that time management or time maximization is an art. It's a skill. Just like objections and rebuttals is a skill, closing is a skill, pottery and crocheting are skills. So is time maximization. So if you want to achieve work-life balance, you need to have training and discipline. So with that being said, this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and you've been rocking with Sean V. Bradley CSP, Tianna Mick, and the Blind Master L.A. Williams. See you when we see you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you liked it, you're gonna love Bradley On Demand. Bradley On Demand is the most advanced virtual training, tracking, testing, and certification platform. What does that mean? It's an online university. And if you like this information here, we have hundreds and hundreds of advanced videos, step by step, on how to help you sell more cars more often and more profitably, so sign up now.